Hey, this is CityCast Portland host Claudia Meza. At the end of today's episode, we have a sponsored segment brought to you by the International School of Portland. I'm talking to Bodo Heiliger, who's going to talk with me about what makes their language immersion approach so unique and why more families are turning to globally focused education right here in Portland. So stick around, especially if you've got kids in your life, because you'll also hear about their upcoming open house on April 24th and what to expect if you go check it out.
Diamore Law Group believes personal injury is about public safety, not just a settlement check. Led by veteran trial attorney Tom Diamore, with over 30 years of experience holding negligent drivers, corporations, and unsafe institutions accountable across Oregon. And clients pay nothing unless they win. If you or someone you love has been seriously injured, call 503-222-6333 or visit diamorelaw.com to schedule a free consultation.
This is CityCast Portland. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Today on CityCast Portland, surprising findings from tracking local grocery store prices, the changes coming to Forest Services as we get closer to wildfire season, and a few things to look forward to as the weather gets a little better. Joining me are Stumptown Savings founder Bryan M. Vance and our very own executive producer, John Notarianni. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning, you guys.
Hey, Claudia.
Hey, good to be back.
As most of our listeners know, before we jump into the news, I usually ask an opening question so any new listeners can get to know us a little better. And today's opening question is inspired by several Bruce Springsteen sightings around town ahead of his concert at the Moda Center last Friday. He visited Jackpot Records on Hawthorne Boulevard, bought a beanie. Our senior producer's boyfriend saw him at a grocery store. We don't know what he bought there.
Oh, it was at a grocery store?
Grocery store?
Yeah. I mean, man's got to eat.
Man's got to eat, yeah.
So my question to you two is, what is your favorite Bruce Springsteen song and why? And I will judge you if it is I'm on Fire.
I don't have one, so you can judge me for that because I don't actually know his music.
What?
Kind of surprising, Bryan.
You're
You
from
feel
the
like you
Midwest.
got like a Bruce Springsteen fan vibe going on.
You do.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely did not grow up listening to, what is he, like indie rock, old school indie rock? I don't even know how you describe him. Old man rock, not my vibe.
I can't explain a more American artist that, just like old school, like from the 80s. I wouldn't say indie rock, but also he's like the artist that crosses so many genres and people's tastes, where you're just like, it's the fucking boss. Of course I love Bruce Springsteen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I grew up in Ohio listening to like Bone Thugs and Harmony and stuff like that. Not
Also awesome.
the boss, which I didn't even know that nickname, so...
As a Michigander, I did once get into a heated argument about who is better, Bruce Springsteen and Bob Seger.
Oh, clearly Bruce
Bob Seger's
Springsteen.
from Detroit. I was told that Bruce Springsteen was better, and I disagreed in my youth.
John,
I've come
you're-
around.
Okay. I'm like, John, I'm so sorry to tell you now, but you were wrong. What is your favorite song?
In the years since I have become a Bruce Springsteen fan, Darkness on the Edge of Town is my favorite record. I think the best like end of side one, beginning of side two record flip ever in any record of all time is Racing in the Street into Promised Land. So it's just sort of like this beautiful like ballad, and then you flip the record over and then you get the Promised Land and it kicks ass. Yeah.
Bryan, the reason Bruce Springsteen is awesome is because he does occasionally sound like he could like write you the most amazing truck commercial, but then you listen to the lyrics and they're so like left wing, and do you know what I mean? Like he's just totally. Like the American dream was never given to us, like that kind of thing, you know? That being said, my favorite one, and it's such a cop out, but like it's Born to Run. It's such an anthem. Like, you can't, to me, like, if someone's like, Bryan, like, I'm like, go listen to Born to Run, dude.
Listen, that's where I should
Come back.
We'll pause this podcast for 4 minutes, everyone.
Because Bryan just said he has no idea who Bruce Springsteen is, and now
I know who he is. I just am not familiar with his music.
We're derailed.
I know who he is as this like 60-something-year-old man who's like making protest songs. Like, I get that. I just haven't listened to any of them. So,
Bryan, I'm excited for you.
You got a few options now to enter this world.
Yeah, I've got some nice recs. So
yeah. Bone Thugs and Harmony, though, excellent.
From Ohio, that's why.
And Devo.
Devo's from Ohio?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't they from like Akron or something?
Oh, you know what? That totally tracks. Like them and LeBron. That's Akron for you.
Yeah. All right, on to the news of the week. So, Bryan, what have you learned from tracking grocery store prices this past year? Also, can you kind of explain what Stumptown Saving is for like listeners who might not know what it is that you actually do?
Yeah.
And like why you're like obsessed with grocery prices?
That's probably a great starting point. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I actually used to work at CityCast. I left a year ago and I started Stumptown Savings. So Stumptown Savings is a newsroom of one. It is me. And it is an effort to help people better understand our local food system through the lens of food that you eat at home. So not through restaurants. We have a lot of people who are doing great work covering restaurants, but we didn't really have anyone covering groceries. And I don't know if you remember, but last spring, eggs were through the roof. And that's sort of what got me started, was egg prices were out of control. I would walk into a store one week, it'd be like $6 a dozen for my favorite eggs. The next week it'd be like $9. It was insane. So Stumptown Savings is my effort to help people sort of fight back against rising grocery prices. So one of the things I've been doing for the past year is tracking grocery prices to get a sense of how prices are changing. The big thing I've learned is where you shop really, really matters. Prices are playing out in different ways depending on where you shop. So if you shop at a place like Winco, it's not that prices haven't gone up. They have, but they've gone up at a much slower rate. And in some instances, certain things have actually gone down. So egg prices are something that have definitely dropped from the all-time high last year. You can get eggs for like 99 cents a dozen right now. Are they the best eggs in the world? Yeah. They're not the best eggs in the world.
Not at your local farmer's market.
Yeah. No, I'm imagining there's a G missing and it's just like egg is a...
Eggums.
It's like those boneless wings, WYNGZ.
Yeah.
No. They're actual chicken eggs. You can get them for like 99 cents a dozen. They tend to be like loss leaders. So I'm pretty sure those stores are losing money on those. But, it's not uncommon to find a dozen for anywhere from like $2 to $4 right now.
So what are some of the most surprising findings that you've discovered this past year since you've been like head down? Also, I just want to shout out that like I'm a member of Stumptown Savings and
thank you.
We get like these little zines mailed to us.
She's got one.
And it's so cool.
I just got one too.
I love
am also a
it.
member.
I love a zine. It's so cool. And like it tells you what is in season, what the market schedule, like for farmers markets. Yeah. And then like, a cool little recipe. Sorry, I know you know, this isn't.
No, I appreciate this.
We're not being
doing
sponsored.
a much better job selling it.
But it's so cool. I just want people to know that it's more than you tracking prices. Like it's a community of like, hey, let's feed ourselves and let's feed our community. And this is how we do it together. But that being said, every week I get a little email from you basically going, this is where the cheapest this or that. Like if you were to say this is the cheapest store in Portland to get your groceries, is there a winner?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's been every month. It's been Winco. A lot of people tell you it's Grocery Outlet. That's just not true. It's not that Grocery Outlet is like super expensive, but it depends on what you buy at Grocery Outlet. If you're going for like staples, like they can't actually beat Winco. Winco is the cheapest in town. Winco does several things to do that. I mean, famously, they don't accept credit cards, though. I have a trick for you on that. You can just find me on social media and I'll show you how you can pay with a credit card at Winco. It's actually pretty easy.
Okay.
But yeah, Winco. But Grocery Outlet is pretty cheap, especially if you're cool with sort of changing up what you get, because prices will vary from store to store and from week to week at Grocery Outlet. But you can get some like crazy good deals on like sometimes like Irish butter for whatever reason. They'll just get like a truckload of Irish butter that you can get for cheaper than anywhere else.
I used to live down the street from a grocery outlet, and it is tough to shop there when you know like exactly what you want. But I found it's really good if you're just sort of like, I don't know, I just need some food. And you have a little bit of that creativity in your bones. You can just come home with like a wild array of goodies.
Yeah, you can get some really interesting stuff there. But also what's cool about Grocery Outlet is because they are, I don't know if everyone knows this, Grocery Outlet is actually like a franchise network. So Grocery Outlet is a corporation, but the individual store is owned by like an independent owner operator. And so that means that they can actually sometimes stock things that you won't find in other stores. So like the Hollywood Grocery Outlet stocks sourdough pizza dough from Kalama Bakery, I think is the name. So it's just like a place up in Kalama, Washington. You can get that there. That's really good stuff and it's pretty cheap. So like that's one of the cool things about Grocery Outlet.
I'm surprised that Costco wasn't the cheapest. Like,
it's not. And actually per ounce, it can be significantly more expensive than Winco. Where Costco is going to save you money is not really in groceries. Unless you're someone who's like, I want 60 eggs a week, or I'm raising a family of baby cows who just guzzle milk. Like it's not going to be the cheapest store in town.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting looking at your reporting just to see like how much, you know, the cheapest ones are interesting, but the most expensive ones really jump out too. And like I am, you know, I think that we're all sort of guilty of just like shopping at the store that is closest to you. And the closest one to me is a New Seasons.
Yeah.
And like my grocery bills are $9,000. And like I got a very nice banana, but like, you know, you pay for it. And like just to sort of see some of those spikes in like some of the prices of certain places is really wild.
Before we wrap up, Bryan, I'm just curious, what are like 3 surprising findings, like the 3 things that you're just like, I had no idea, you know, before you became like this scholar of groceries?
Groceries. Number 1 is that you are going to pay more for the exact same products if you shop at QFC over Fred Meyer. It's just the way it is. They're the same company, same store products.
Yeah.
You're going to pay significantly more. Number 2 is Market of Choice is actually not as expensive as you may think it is. It's sort of in the name, you know, they pride themselves on offering you choice. So yes, you can get like really high end, locally grown stuff in there, but you can also get like cheap bags of Doritos. Like it's actually a pretty comparable store.
Nice.
And number 3 would be if you live in the burbs, specifically if you live in like the Vancouver area, check out Chuck's Fresh Markets. This is like a premium grocery store that is not that much more expensive than like Safeway or Fred Meyer, but you're getting substantially better produce and substantially better like meat and dairy. It is kind of a hidden gem, and I actually wish we had one in Portland proper.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard of this.
Never heard of it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Bryan, thank you so much. I love your work. I love what you do.
Thank you.
It's so like, seriously, it's so undervalued in a sense. Like people are just like, what? Groceries. But it's like, we need this stuff. We need to know. And also someone just tracking it is really important right now. Just, you know, just to be like, we're not going crazy,
changing.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, changes at the Forest Service and how they're impacting us locally. Looking for something fun and free to do with the kids? On Friday, April 17th and Saturday, April 18th, YMCA is celebrating Healthy Kids Day. It's happening at locations all across the Portland Metro and Southwest Washington. It's a national YMCA event that helps families stay active, healthy, and connected with creative projects, outdoor games, and even family swim at select sites. Again, Healthy Kids Day is totally free, and you can find your closest event and full schedule at ymcacw.org/HKD-FM. That's ymca.org/HKD-FM. All right, John, what's going on at the Forest Service? Also, what is the Forest Service?
Actually, a lot is going on. This is off the back of some really great reporting by Alex Baumhart at the Oregon Capitol Chronicle. You might remember last year, we heard that there were some changes that were being considered for the Forest Service. You know, they wanted to cut costs. They were looking at moving staff closer to where the western forests are. Well, last week, we just got a ton of detail on what this is really going to look like. I think the big news for a lot of people is that the national headquarters is shifting from Washington, D.C. to Salt Lake City, which is a huge change in and of itself.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of changes that are going to be hitting different regions across the country, including us here in Portland. They're closing 9 regional offices nationwide, going to a state-based model with 15 state directors. But the real biggie is they're closing 7 state-based research stations and consolidating that into a single station in Fort Collins, Colorado. That's an especially big deal for us because that means that the Pacific Northwest Research Station is going to be closing. Now, you might not have heard of this, but it is a huge deal. It's been there for like 100 years. It's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, Forest Service research station in the country. 250 permanent staff. That's all being consolidated to Colorado, and the one in Portland's going to close. Also, the regional headquarters in Portland is going to be closing, moving to Salem as a new state director's office. So, you might be like, all right, why does this matter? This research station has done so much in helping us understand what is going on in the ecology specifically of Oregon, right? I mean, they've done research into like how our forests are actually affected by wildfire, because it's not like wildfire hits every single thing and burns the same way. It's really, really specific to the climate. So they've done a ton of work on that. They've done a ton of work like looking at balancing timber production and ecosystem health, a ton of work on salmon recovery. And like they've been based here, and they've had 250 scientists working on questions of stuff that is based in our region. So when you take those people and put them out to Colorado, like ostensibly they'll still be working on this stuff, but it's not like they're going to be able to wake up at 9 o'clock in their workday and drive out into the woods. It could be a really big issue for Oregon down the road.
Could I give more stakes on why it's kind of important? Is that approximately 53% of Oregon's 61 million acres is federal land, meaning that's like totaling over 32 million acres managed primarily by the Bureau of Land Management, that's BLM, and the U.S. Forest Service. So when we have wildfires, it's usually part of this millions of acres, and so it would be nice if we had their presence here and also their knowledge of like fighting wildfire, like figuring this stuff out, I mean, it is a little like out of sight, out of mind. I'm assuming this is happening because of federal cuts to the Forest Service, but I don't quite understand why it's happening.
Yeah, like why now?
Yeah.
It feels kind of doji, It's like they said that they wanted to cut costs. They said they wanted to sort of like centralize leadership and decision making. So, there is an argument, take it for what it will, that this is going to make the entire Forest Service more efficient, that decisions are going to be made more easily. But I mean, it does come at the cost of, having investment in local communities, which, sure, that is expensive, but like that's sort of what it's for.
Yeah.
I will say on the wildfire part, like it's important to note in the immediate short term, experts are saying it's not going to have an effect on wildfire prevention. It's not going to affect what is happening this season in terms of our wildfire, which is good because we are in line for like a gnarly wildfire.
Yeah, this winter was dry.
Yeah. But long term, you're saying.
I mean, like in 50 years, the amount of research that is not going to happen because these people aren't here in our community, it could be a really big deal.
Is this something that the state should look into, maybe picking up some slack?
I mean, if...
not that we have a shit ton of money, but I'm just saying, but the thing is, it's federal land. So how does that work?
Yeah.
It's federal land, but it's in our state. It affects the people living here. And if they're not going to be managing it effectively, I mean, they're saying they are, but I'm just saying if they're not really going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Who picks up the slack?
Throw it on the list of the hundreds of issues that the federal government is cutting back on that the state now has to pick up the slack for.
Now you do it.
I hope that'd be great, but it's,
and give us that land.
It's kind of what the federal government is for, it's federal land.
Devil's advocate, they did something sort of similar with the BLM in the first Trump administration. So they relocated the headquarters from the DC area where it never made sense for the headquarters of the Bureau of Land Management to be based out to somewhere in Colorado. I think maybe Fort Collins, actually. Didn't really see like a fundamental degradation of responsibility of BLM BLM takes like a sort of behind the scenes approach compared to a lot of other federal agencies. So like some of this seems like it could actually work out just fine because, again, answering to people who are in the West, at least, is probably going to be better than answering to someone who spent their entire career living in the suburbs of DC from a Forest Service standpoint. But yeah, I mean, I am interested in seeing the research part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, like plenty of people can do research technically headquartered in, say, Corvallis, but they don't actually do the research there. Like maybe they take special trips out to the Alvord Desert, or their, the Southern Oregon coast for several months out of the year. So it's like, I'm sure that the reason here is like, yeah, let's cut costs and let's just like make states pay for it. But it's going to take 2 years for this whole thing to play out anyway. Trump's term will be over by then. We're probably going to see that some of this will shift over the next 2 years. I don't think it's going to be all doom and gloom. I also don't think it's going to be all great either, but it's a mixed bag.
And let me like sort of hedge myself, to be clear, like there is still going to be this sort of statewide office that is based in Salem. There are going to be smaller facilities that are open in Corvallis and La Grande. And they're saying that like they're not laying off employees at this point, that they're going to be sort of relocated in rather than being laid off.
That's good to hear.
But a spokesperson for the Forest Service also said that employees will get more guidance, quote, as different milestones approach. So that feels pretty fucking ominous to me as well.
Okay. It could all change.
Well, oh man, question mark, right? I guess we're okay this year, so we'll worry about it next year. Bryan, what you said made me feel a little better, so thank you for that. But let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, some things to look forward to. Not wildfires. Not wildfires, yeah. Yeah.
Spring home buying season is back in Portland. That home you're in love with, the Portland bungalow with room for garden beds in the backyard and easy access to the Max line, it's fetching multiple offers. If you are in the market anywhere in the Portland metro area and feel like your offers aren't getting accepted, talk to James Adair at Neo Home Loans powered by Better. James has spent more than 20 years helping Portland families get their offers accepted. And he's put together a list of 12 specific ways to improve your offer. He calls it the unfair buyer advantage. You don't need more offers. You need one that wins. Download his free playbook at unfairbuyeradvantage.com. That's unfairbuyeradvantage.com. James Adair, NMLS 272766 with Better Mortgage Corporation. NMLS 330511, an equal housing lender.
As the weather gets better and most of us are feeling more inclined to leave our house, I just wanted to share a few things coming up to check out. And also I wanted to ask for your recs. Just jumping in for one, the 503-day block party is happening again at Ankeny Alley. We're not hosting it this year, but we will be there. And we do actually have a few more surprises to reveal as we get closer to that date, which is May 3rd. 503. But it's really cool. It's going to fall on a Sunday. I don't know what's going to happen next year when it falls on a Monday, but the Ankeny Alley was just like, that was a blast. Let's do it again. I'm very excited about this.
It's going to be so cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's 503. The next weekend on May 9th is the St. John's Bazaar, which I think, unbiased here, it's the best, if not one of the best neighborhood block parties thrown in this town. The music lineup hasn't been released yet, but it's consistently, John can back me up here, jam-packed with like, how do they get them? Like, how do they get them?
Yeah.
Like, how are they here?
Yeah.
And also free. So like amazing, right?
And it is the same day as the St. John's Parade, which is also a blast if you like want to go and sit on the sidewalk and buy a hot dog from a dude who's like cooking on a charcoal grill and like just see teenagers playing in marching bands. It is so much fun. I will be back in St. John's for this. Mark my words. Yeah,
for sure. And you'll also see like 500 Little League teams march. I don't know why, but it's always so sweet. Okay.
That's cute. Are they in uniform?
Yes.
Oh, that's really
You're just
cute.
like, there's more, but it's so great. Okay. Also, this year, I'm going to be serving beer at the beer garden, so come say hello.
What?
It's been a dream of
Nice.
mine, which is kind of sad, but it is. I'm just like, one day I'll surf it.
Celebrity bartender
At the
Claudia
St.
Meza.
John's Bazaar. Yeah, specifically. Also,
Can you slip me a couple extra tokens?
we're on tape
Claudia's
right
like,
now.
no, I take my responsibilities very seriously as a
I'm
bartender.
sorry. Especially at the St. John's Bazaar. I want that shit running. Okay. Also, there's going to be a weekly ceramic art market coming up that's opening in downtown's Director Park. That's that open plaza kind of close to the Regal Fox Tower. A lot of cool stuff have been happening. Like
There's
I think
always cool stuff there.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So Clay Commons is running the market every Wednesday from June through September. It's going to feature 25 local ceramic artists, studios, and independent makers. It's taking place from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that's going to be hard for a lot of working people to check out, but it's happening. And on the last Wednesday of each month, it's going to be all makers. So like
So not
glass,
just
wood,
ceramics.
yeah, metals, textiles, candles, I don't know. Maybe I'll pour beer there too if they have a garden. Invite me. It's my new thing now. But I'm curious, like, what are you guys looking forward to?
Oh my gosh. Since you went with the multi-pick, I'm going to throw in at least one extra.
Go for it.
Shouting out Lads 500, which is coming up next
yeah.
weekend.
Oh my God.
Their tagline, it's spring, let's do something stupid. It's coming up April 11th, 500 laps around Lads Circle. I did it last year. It is so much fun.
Okay,
Like
I'll
you
meet you
actually
there.
were in it?
Yeah. I had a relay team last year
That's so
and
cool.
just like had a blast. So
I'm going to be there this year. Usually I'm out of town for some freaking reason, but I'm really excited because I'm in town this year, so I get to go. And if anyone's doing it, any listener, let us know, and I'll like totally shout you out. I'm there to cheer. I'm definitely not going to get in there.
But the thing that I really wanted to bring to the group is the return of Turn. So I've talked about this venue on the show before. It's just a wonderful neighborhood music venue on North Killingsworth that books all sorts of different types of acts and musicians and events and community gatherings. They've been on sort of shaky ground for the last couple of years. It was just announced that 2 new owners have come forward and are keeping Turn going. There are 2 folks with like really deep roots in the music scene in Portland. And just this past weekend sort of had a grand reopening where they had Quasi playing and dragging an ox through water. So yeah, I'd say...
I'm sorry, the band's name is Dragging an Ox Through Water?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know dragging an ox through
Yeah,
water?
it's
That is
very
an amazing band
Portland.
name.
Yeah.
Sort of sounds like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah,
with,
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know, but it does not sound like Bruce Springsteen.
But yeah, longtime like Portland experimental musician dragging an ox through water.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's always just been like such a cool place to like find and discover new music and to like give small local bands a chance to play. So
It's such a sweet vibe.
definitely keep an eye on their concert calendar and support them because it's a great place.
Yeah, I saw Space Lady there, and it was like the most amazing show ever. Brian, what about you? What are your picks?
Since you were shouting out St. John's, I'm going to shout out some stuff happening out
Do it.
here in Montevilla. So the 82nd Avenue Parade of Roses is technically not happening in Montevilla this year. It's starting just north of it. But that's actually really fun to go check out. I once took my oldest dog to it, and she was terrified of the dragon dancers. I don't know if she thought they were real dragons or whatnot, but this may make me mean, it was quite funny to see her reaction because she was freaking out. But it's really fun. It's sort of like what Claudia was talking about. It's just like a bunch of like community organizations, but with a real big influence from Portland's Asian community. So
I didn't
it's just
know
a
that.
really fun time, and the weather's always nice, and it's in the morning, and
When?
it's also cool. It's happening last weekend of April this year.
Last week. Okay, cool.
What's cool about it is a stretch of 82nd gets closed to cars for most of the day. So you can literally just walk down the middle of 82nd Avenue.
I do it just for that.
It's so fun. It was the first year we moved here, and it was going through Montevilla. I remember just seeing like teenagers before the actual parade got to our stretch, just riding their bikes up and down the street. And I was like,
Yeah.
heck yeah, like I'm there.
You know
That's
what would be
fun.
playing when you see that is like, baby, we were born to run. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the perfect song for
The
that.
anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Brian, I swear it's going to make
The-
sense once you hear that song. It's
I'm
going to make
gonna
sense.
listen to it after
Okay.
this. Yeah, I'll report back for sure. The other thing is the Montevilla Street Fair. It's
Hell yeah.
huge. They shut down Stark Street. No cars. They have like 4 different music stages, like 2 different beer gardens. Plus, there's 2 breweries right there. in downtown Montevilla, so there's lots of chances to imbibe an alcohol. But it's just fun because it also happens on the same day that the Montevilla Farmers Market is, so it becomes a little bit more than a street fair. It's like a whole neighborhood celebration. It's just a really fun time to come out and check out, I would argue, the most beautiful neighborhood in Portland.
Okay, you know what? We're fine. But are you pouring beer?
No, I am not pouring beer. Clearly, I need to step my game up and get in on this. If I'm
not bragging. I'm just exactly. I'm just asking. Well, this is awesome. All the things that you guys mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. But yeah, so if anybody else has any pics of like some cool stuff happening outside that's coming up, let us know. Portland@citycast.fm. But yeah. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend, leave us a good review. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. You can just visit membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's or the St. John's Bazaar or the Montevilla Street Fair.
Or turn.
Or turn.
Or Lads 500.
We'll be everywhere.